Number 1, decor. Number 2, clothes. And number 3, perfume. So these are just some of the items that I do not buy in 2020, and I thought it would be fun to just make this video and share my list with you guys. I know lots of people have done this video, but I figured every list is going to be a little bit different, and so I thought it'd be fun to share mine with y'all today. And of course, this is just my list. This is not to pass any judgment on you if you do buy any of these things. And honestly, most of these items we stopped buying out of a need to save money rather than to become more minimal, because we are still on our debt-free journey. So a lot of this is just stuff that really helps us save money, along with keeping our house from being too cluttered. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Heather. I have an 11-month-old baby boy named Judah, and I have a husband named Jerry, and I'm very passionate about sharing my journey with minimalism, simplifying our home and our life, really to create more peace. And that's really my main goal with everything, is really to create more peace in our home. So number 1 on my list is decor. And I talked a little bit about this in my visual clutter video. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it below. But decor is something I actually really love, but I feel like we have a good amount of decor and we don't have a lot of surfaces to set things on. So at this point, it doesn't make a lot of sense to add more decor in. And if there is something that I really want, then I'll usually find a way to DIY it. So just recently I did some DIY Christmas decor, and it was a lot of fun and it saved me a lot of money. So usually I'll just do that in lieu of going out and buying a new piece of decor. In addition to that, in about 3 months, we're going to be moving across the country twice in a year. So that's another motivator for me to not keep adding more things to our home. Number 2 is clothing. Really more so excess clothing. Of course, I still buy clothes if I need something, but for the most part, I don't buy nearly as many clothes as I used to. And a big part of that is the fact that I work from home now and I have a baby. And so there's not a lot of occasions to dress up or even really get like super dressed. Honestly, most of my clothing that I need on a daily basis is more loungewear and things like that. So I really cut out a lot of spending on clothing. And not only does that keep my closet more simplified, but it definitely helps out our budget. Number 3 is perfume. And this one honestly has nothing to do with being minimal, or even really saving money for the most part. I just have never been someone who buys perfume. I have usually gotten it as a gift, and I'm still using some perfume that my sister and brother-in-law got me a couple of years ago. It still smells good and I like it, and I only wear it very rarely anyway. If I am having a date night with my husband or something like that, which it's pretty rare these days, at least a going out date night. So I just don't use it that often, and it isn't something that I really have a need to spend money on. And if you saw my recent bathroom declutter, then you'll see that I had so much old perfume stuck up in there that had gotten all musty. And I just don't want that taking up space anymore. So I love just having one, and that's enough. Number 4 is throw blankets and throw pillows. I've also talked about this one before. I actually do really love throw blankets and throw pillows, and for whatever reason, I have a huge weakness for them. Anytime I see a cute throw pillow or a throw blanket, I have to really rein myself in and not buy it, because we have enough throw blankets, we have enough throw pillows, and they really do add to the visual clutter. They are something that you have to maintain and fold up and put away each night. It used to be where every season I would go out and I would buy a new Christmas pillow or a new fall pillow, but I'm at the point now where I just don't want to add any more, and I don't want to spend unnecessary money, especially now that I'm a mom, and I think a lot more about those purchases and how they affect the whole family. Number 5 is nail polish. I actually don't paint my fingernails. I do paint my toenails, but I have one color for the most part that I use the majority of the time. And if that runs out, then yeah, I'll probably replace it, but it's just not something I do very often. Really, I think that this habit started when I was an art teacher, because with all of the paint and clay and different things that we would be working with, nail polish would always just chip off anyway. And so I kind of got out of the habit at that point, and it's just something that's kind of stuck with me now. And along those same lines is manicures and pedicures. So I used to actually get a manicure and a pedicure every single month, and it really added up. It was a very expensive habit, just an easy thing to cut out to really save some money. Number 7 is costume jewelry. I used to be so bad about this. I would always go out and buy like statement necklaces and different little things to match different outfits. But now I'm focused a lot more on quality over quantity. So I've really been trying to invest in nicer pieces that are going to last me a little bit longer. Not necessarily fine jewelry, but just a little bit higher end pieces that are going to last me for a few years rather than just a few months, and that I can feel good about cleaning and taking care of instead of having a whole bunch of not so good quality pieces. They're just going to be adding clutter and probably breaking before too long anyway. All right, number 8 is non-neutral items. I know that sounds kind of funny, but I really try to buy mostly neutral pieces when it comes to my home, and that way I know that they're going to match, they're going to transition really well when we move and add in other pieces. Part of this is really just because of my personality. I change my mind a lot and I get tired of things pretty quickly. So if I keep them neutral, then I don't have to worry about getting tired of a certain color, and I can easily mix it up if I want to. Number 9, and this is actually one that I haven't bought in years, and that's coffee filters. We have one of those gold, or I don't know, it's like a metal coffee filter that you can keep reusing. And so I really like it because not only do you not have to worry about adding in a coffee filter, but it's better for the environment too. And 10 is bottled water. Another one that we really haven't bought in years. We have reusable water bottles and a water filter and fill those up if we're going out. We always have water with us. And I've read a lot about the plastic bottles not necessarily being very good for your health, especially if they get hot and then cold and different things like that. So it's just better all around for us. Number 11 is scented lotions. And this is partially because I do have sensitive skin, but I've also found them not to be as moisturizing or high of quality, I guess, if that makes sense. It seems like the just simple, more natural ingredient type lotions seem to work a lot better for me. Number 12 is handbags. And this is kind of just another lifestyle one as well. I do love handbags. I think they're beautiful, but I just don't find myself carrying them anymore. Now that I have a baby, it's usually just the diaper bag. I'll throw my wallet in there and we're good to go. 13 is souvenirs. And this is one that we kind of cut out recently. I did used to always have to have a souvenir everywhere I went. And the first step was I kind of transitioned from like physical objects that would sit out, like decor and different things like that, to t-shirts. And I thought, well, t-shirts will be a lot easier to store. I know I'll actually wear them. And then I kind of just cut that out too, because it was just another thing to spend money on. And I would rather spend that money on doing things when I go places and not add just another novelty t-shirt to my wardrobe that's going to be taking up space. All right, next is electronic baby toys. And this is one that we kind of just made the choice not to buy, kind of based on just our parenting styles and principles. We follow a lot of the Montessori method, and there's a lot of science behind it that shows that kids actually learn more from toys that they have to kind of figure out and put together, and that are actually a lot more simple, and that the electronic kind of flashy toys only hold their attention for a shorter time frame. So I can link a couple of articles below that I've read about that. I found that the whole Montessori method fits really nicely with our minimal lifestyle, and so it was just kind of a no-brainer not to buy the electronic toys. It keeps our home more peaceful, less cluttered, and we're able to spend a little bit more on toys that are going to be more educational. All right, 15 is heels, or just uncomfortable shoes in general. And this is another one that is just a kind of a lifestyle thing too. I used to have tons of heels. I mean, I probably had like 50 pairs. And that was really more because I worked in the corporate environment. Not that I ever really needed like 50 pairs, but I used to collect them. And now I have, I think, 2 pairs. And I'm actually about to get rid of the second pair because I really don't even need those. Next is eyeshadow. So I really don't wear that much makeup in general because like I said before, I work from home and I don't really have a lot of reason to unless I'm filming. And I have a couple of eyeshadow palettes already that I feel like will last a really long time. And so I really don't have a reason to go out and buy eyeshadow. I used to buy it if I just saw something pretty. I would be like, oh, I think I'm just gonna buy that and try it out. Now that we are living more minimally and trying to save more money, that was a habit that I needed to break, and I'm really glad I did because I really like having a more simplified makeup system anyway. It's a lot easier to see what I have and makes getting ready in the morning just that much faster. Next is single-use items. And so what I mean by that is things like apple cutters or orange peelers or anything that has just a very specific function and it only does that one thing. And since we have been embracing this more minimal lifestyle, I recently decluttered our kitchen and I really tried to get it down to things that I know that we use every day and that have multiple purposes. And most of the time I find that I can do all of those things that single-use item could do with something else in my kitchen, like a knife or a blender or something like that, that can be used for several different things rather than taking up space with all of these different single-use items that I'm probably not going to honestly even remember to use anyway. Kind of along those same lines is convenience items, and this is really more so food that I'm talking about, or things that are like pre-made, pre-packaged. Like the first example that's coming to my mind is like pre-cut pineapple, and you'll usually pay a lot more for the convenience of them already being cut up and packaged for you. And you could just go ahead and get what you need and cut it up and prepare it yourself. So most of the time I will bypass those items to save money and just spend a little bit more time on the preparation. All right, next is picture frames. I do have picture frames and I do like picture frames, but we kind of already have enough. And like I said before, we don't have a lot of space to set things out. And so picture frames that sit like on the nightstand or things like that, I will put things on the wall. And a lot of times I'll try to just do my own artwork on like a canvas or something like that if I want to add to the decor, and I can just put that directly on the wall. All right, and then lastly, number 20 is things I can't afford. And so what I mean by that is anything that would need to be put on credit or financed. We actually do not use credit cards or finance anything at this point in our life. If we don't have the money for it right now at this point in time, then we just don't buy it. And if it's something that we really want or we really need, then we'll save up the money for it. So that is it for my list of things that I don't buy in 2020. I hope that you enjoyed it or that it gave you some kind of inspiration or some ideas. Let me know in the comments if you have anything to add to the list, and I would love to hear it. And if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss my next video. And if this video helped you in any way, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.